Welcome to Pod Trendcast, where we break down the biggest trends shaping our world today.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a series of events that, well, they've really stirred things up. Deeply affected a community. We're talking grief, protest, some really powerful symbols all colliding. It's something that definitely warrants a closer look. We've got sources here that give us a kind of snapshot of these moments right as they happened.
Exactly. What we want to do is try and piece together the sequence, the timeline, and understand the immediate context that our reports describe. It's a serious situation, no doubt about it. And you'll see these sources, they capture some raw emotion. It's this complex mix of public grief, individual actions, all happening in a really charged environment. We'll connect those dots for you. Look beyond just what happened and dig into why certain things resonated so strongly.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The sort of catalyst for a lot of this, the immediate thing in our sources, is an act of vandalism at a public memorial. This memorial was for Charlie Kirk, set up outside the Turning Point USA headquarters in Phoenix, near 48th Street and Beverly Road specifically. And this wasn't just, a couple of flowers. It was a growing collection. People were leaving flowers, vases, flags. It was quite heartfelt, really becoming a focal point for people mourning.
A tangible space for grief.
Right. Then, on Sunday, September 14th, around 9:50 in the morning, this space gets, desecrated. Our sources name the suspect, Ryder Corral, a 19-year-old man. And apparently it was caught on camera, him just trampling through the memorial, kicking things over, flowers, flags, everything.
Hard to watch, I imagine.
Yeah, must have been shocking for anyone there. But what happened next is interesting, the immediate response from the community, or at least one person there. A mourner saw it happening and didn't hesitate. Tackled Corral right to the ground.
Wow, really? Just jumped in.
Apparently so. And Phoenix Police Sergeant Philip Krinsky, he confirmed officers were actually already nearby. They were doing traffic control because there was such a large crowd gathered. So witnesses basically held Corral until the police could arrive and make the official arrest.
So the police were already anticipating, not necessarily trouble, but a large presence.
Seems that way, yeah. Needed traffic control. Anyway, Corral was charged, criminal damage and disorderly conduct. And last we heard, he's being held at the Maricopa County Jail.
That immediate reaction, the tackle, it really speaks volumes, doesn't it? It goes beyond just protecting, flowers and vases. It shows how protective people feel about these spaces. It's like defending something sacred, an extension of the person they're mourning, especially when feelings are running so high.
Yeah, a protective instinct.
Exactly. Public memorials, particularly after a sudden tragedy like this, they become these almost sacred zones for collective remembrance. So when someone disturbs that, it's not just seen as vandalism against objects. It feels like a direct attack on the shared grief, on the act of remembering itself. That mourner stepping in, it really underscores how deeply these physical tributes matter to a community when it's hurting.
That makes a lot of sense. It paints a very clear picture. And speaking of things that are powerful and unsettling, this brings us to maybe the most provocative detail in the sources. There's this direct, almost chilling, symbolic link being drawn between this vandal Corral and the larger tragedy that came before.
Okay.
While he was vandalizing the memorial, Ryder Corral was apparently wearing a specific shirt, a black shirt with an American flag and an eagle design on it.
Right. And why is that significant?
Because the sources point out it bears a striking resemblance, that's the quote, a striking resemblance to the shirt worn by Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson is the 22-year-old accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk just days before this vandalism incident.
Oh, wow. The same kind of shirt.
Or at least strikingly similar. There was a witness, Kyle Nichols, who noted this specifically. His quote is pretty stark. He said, "He wore the same shirt as the shooter did. He had some kind of body cam device. He was saying a lot of hateful things towards Charlie that I don't want to reiterate." Nichols added, "We were staring at him, and I was like, this guy's going to do something."
Yeah, so the choice of shirt, it clearly wasn't missed. It amplified the whole thing.
That is deeply disturbing and incredibly provocative. You see how a symbol, something potentially generic like a flag shirt, can be instantly loaded with meaning in a context like this. It's almost weaponized. It takes an act of vandalism and turns it into something much deeper, potentially a statement of alignment, or maybe just pure provocation.
Right, it's not just random anymore. Not at all. Choosing to wear something so closely associated with the alleged assassin in that specific place at that specific time, it feels deliberate. It's like using a shortcut to inflict more pain. or to make a defiant statement that resonates with the original act of violence. Symbols, flags, clothes, even phrases, they carry immense weight in these emotionally charged situations. They can bypass rational thought and hit people right in the gut. This detail really suggests Corral wasn't just kicking flowers. He was maybe trying to make a much bigger, much uglier statement.
A calculated symbolic connection, as you put it, that really lands and, fully grasp why this symbolism is so potent and why the memorial even existed in the first place. We need to rewind slightly. We need to talk about the event that set all this in motion, the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
The foundational tragedy.
Yes. So for anyone unfamiliar, Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, was the founder of Turning Point USA, a very prominent organization in conservative youth activism. He was a major figure on that side of the political spectrum.
Highly visible.
Very. And the tragedy happened on September 10th. He was speaking at an event on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, and he was shot, fatally shot. He was rushed to Timpanogos Regional Hospital, but he was pronounced dead there. Our sources note he left behind a wife and children, which just adds another layer of heartbreak to it all.
Absolutely devastating.
The man accused of the assassination, Tyler Robinson, also 22, was arrested after this intense 33-hour manhunt. And here's the connection back to the shirt the FBI had released photos of Robinson during that manhunt. Photos showing him wearing that distinctive black shirt with American flag graphic, the same type of shirt the Vandal Corral was reportedly wearing at the memorial days later.
It connects the two events in a visually stark way. Yep. And an event like that, the assassination of a figure like Kirk, it sends shockwaves. It's not just a personal tragedy for his family or even just his organization. It reverberates through the entire political landscape. It often deepens divisions, galvanizes supporters. It's a major disruption.
Yeah, you can see how it would lead to such an outpouring.
Definitely. That community presence at the memorial, the sheer number of people needing traffic control, that's a direct result of the magnitude of this loss for them. The memorial becomes this focal point for shared sorrow, for solidarity, for processing what happened. So understanding that initial shock and grief is absolutely crucial to understanding the intensity of the feelings around the memorial and the reaction to the vandalism. It wasn't just property damage. It felt like kicking them when they were already down.
Right. So, okay, we have this intense backdrop. The assassination, the widespread grief, the shock, and then you have this act of vandalism made even worse by that chilling symbolic element of the shirt. You'd almost expect the reaction from the mourners, especially after someone was brave enough to tackle the guy, to be one of anger, maybe retaliation.
You might expect that, yes, given the provocation.
But that's not quite what our sources emphasize. They highlight something, well, quite different, almost counterintuitive maybe. A message of love and forgiveness coming from the supporters gathered there, even in the face of this.
Really? Love and forgiveness?
Yes. There's a direct quote from one supporter. They said, "It's just heartbreaking. We want to show our support. And then, even those who engage in violence, we love them and we forgive them and we want to win them for Christ." That's a pretty stark contrast to the act they witnessed, isn't it?
It really is. That's quite a deliberate choice of response.
They also talked about their purpose being there, honoring Kirk's memory and continuing his legacy, his conservative political activism through Turning Point USA. So it wasn't just about grief, but also about through reaffirming their mission despite the attack.
Yeah.
What do you make of a community choosing that path, that message in that specific moment?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because when faced with something clearly hostile, an act designed to provoke, choosing not to meet it with anger or retaliation is a very conscious decision. It demonstrates a kind of resilience, a commitment to their own values, even when it must have been incredibly difficult emotionally. It's not passive, it's actually quite strategic.
How so?
By framing their response around love and forgiveness, especially with the added element of winning them for Christ, they refuse to let the vandal set the terms of the encounter. They reclaim the narrative. They reinforce their own identity and message, sort of rising above the immediate provocation. It suggests a very deeply held conviction, one they feel transcends the immediate anger or desire for retribution.
So it strengthens their own resolve, perhaps.
Exactly. It can be incredibly effective in solidifying a community's sense of purpose and unity. And sometimes, depending on the audience, it might even garner wider sympathy than an angry response would. It really makes you think about the different ways communities choose to define themselves and respond when they feel under attack. It's a powerful choice.
Wow. Okay, so pulling this all together, it's such a complex picture. We've walked through the vandalism at the memorial for Charlie Kirk. We've seen that disturbing symbolic link of the shirt connecting the vandal to Kirk's alleged assassin. We've revisited the tragic context of Kirk's death itself. And then, this striking response from his supporters at the memorial emphasizing love and forgiveness amidst it all. As you, listening, take all this in, what does it make you think about how quickly things can escalate and converge in these public moments? How personal grief and political symbols get tangled up?
That's the core of it, I think. This deep dive really leaves us contemplating just how rapidly grief, protest, symbolism, and even violence can intercept in public spaces. And what does it tell us about how we collectively understand deeply held beliefs and react to them, especially in such turbulent times? It forces us to consider the power dynamics at play, how grief can be exploited or co-opted through symbols, but also how a community can consciously choose its response, shaping its own narrative of resilience or defiance. Perhaps the final thought for you to ponder is this. In moments of intense public emotion, how much weight do individual actions and chosen symbols truly carry? And what does a community's chosen response, be it anger or forgiveness, reveal about its core values and its path forward?
Thanks for listening to Pod Trendcast. Stay curious, stay questioning,